Major Yellowstone tectonic shift sparks fears of mega eruption. Yuspan Altabatabai. Scientists warn that a major tectonic shift at Yellowstone supervolcano will spark a massive eruption that will devastate the planet. Yesterday we posted the Campi Flegrei, the Italy supervolcano near Naples, that in the past erupted and wiped out the Neanderthal, giving way for Homo sapiens to evolve. And that was a major eruption that devastated the Earth about 70,000 BC. Scientists warn that this, of course, is another of the 20 supervolcanoes of the world. As the world's volcanoes begin to wake up, experts turn their attention to the unusual activity that's going on at Yellowstone. We have the Yellowstone Observatory there as well, the Volcano Observatory. For that reason, Express UK reports increased activity above and below the surface at the US supervolcano has set off alarm bells for those who are monitoring the site for potential eruption. And we know also that next to the Yellowstone supervolcano, we have the Long Valley Caldera supervolcano of California. And Yellowstone is theoretically in the ring of fire. Multiple earthquakes at the national park, followed by a fourth eruption of its usually dormant geyser, led to speculations about the world's largest supervolcano. It had had over 2007 earthquakes in the 2018 period, although those were above 2.5. There seems to have been a great many more. If you look at the various earthquake signatures of the area around the park, in the park, and around the park, you'll find that they're ongoing. They're not stopping whatsoever. The supervolcano sits on the Pacific Ring of Fire, which is responsible for earthquakes and volcanic activity along the Pacific Ocean. Most recently included Hawaii, the Kilauea eruption, and of course Indonesia. The geyser steamboat had been dormant since September 2014, suddenly erupted March 15th, April 19th, April 27th, May 14, and has had a number of eruptions this past year, which was totally unusual. And according to Fox News, a swarm of more than 200 earthquakes struck Yellowstone over a 2-week period, indicating shifting of the major tectonic plates beneath the Earth's surface. The Fox reporter said 2 out of the 3 warning signs of an imminent eruption has caused panic among visitors to this site. Those warning signs include increasing seismic activity, ground bulging, that is a ground deformation, and an increased gas outlet at the surface. While seismic activity and gas outlet has increased during 2018, this has not been to a significant extent and without any sign of ground deformation. Seismologists admit that an eruption could cause a mass destruction, but experts at the National Earthquake Information Center in Golden have played down fears. Harley Benz, a U.S. Geological Survey seismologist who monitors the site, said locals would have plenty of time, a warning time, and he added it could be several weeks or months before it erupted. Quote, it would just get more and more intense in terms of the seismic activity. So if it's going into an eruptive phase, we would likely know way ahead of time, end quote. The increased activity has also set off fears for the 800-mile chain of 13 volcanoes in the nearby vicinity along the west coast of California, of course. Liz Westby, a geologist at the U.S. Geological Survey Cascades Volcano Observatory, said, there's lots of anxiety out there. They see destruction and people get nervous. And Michael Pollan, head scientist at the USGS Yellowstone Volcano Observatory, Washington State, said a major quake was not on its way. He explained people tend to focus on the possibility of a huge eruption When they do happen, they're going to shake the region pretty severely, so people should be prepared for that, unquote. When the supervolcano next erupts, the expected consequences will see ash devastate the majority of the U.S. according to Live Science. Experts fear Yellowstone may be about to blow. They fear that a major eruption at Yellowstone is imminent, quote unquote, as an ongoing cluster of earthquakes continues to erupt underneath the supervolcano. The earthquake count was up to a record number of 2,357 in June, since June, and the largest having a magnitude of 4.4. And despite this, USGS scientists are assuring the public that the swarm of earthquakes does not necessarily mean an eruption. These same scientists said exactly the same thing 1 month before Mount St. Helens erupted in 1980. Typically, the U.S. government are adverse to warning the public about an imminent eruption until it's 1 week away. Activist Post reports that when a type of earthquake occurring in Yellowstone deviates from the standard, it could mean that an eruption is forthcoming. A swarm of earthquakes is rather normal for Yellowstone, but the number of quakes is approaching a new record. A current swarm is approaching the record set in 1985, when 3 months brought over 3,000 earthquakes. In 2010, a swarm brought over 2,000 earthquakes over a month. Scientists still say not to worry too much, and the threat of an eruption is still very slim, they say. Epoch Times reports the current situation does not present too much of an eruption threat. The geological pressure would have to be sizable for anything to occur. Yellowstone has had dozens of these sorts of earthquake swarms in the last 150 years it's been visited. The last volcanic eruption within the caldera, the crater, was 70,000 years ago. For magma to reach the surface, a new vent needs to be created, which requires a lot of intense geological activity, said Jacob Lowenstern, one of the scientists managing the Yellowstone Volcano Observatory. Lowenstern went on to say that the odds are very high that Yellowstone will go centuries more without an eruption, and that if one does occur, it will be minor. Should these earthquakes lead to an eruption, scientists think it would not be of much consequence. Quote, if Yellowstone erupts, it's most likely to be a lava flow, as occurred in nearly all the 80 eruptions since the last super eruption 640,000 years ago. A lava flow would be a big deal at Yellowstone, but would have very little regional or continental effect. Unquote. This is what Lowenstern explained. In the recent very active earthquake strikes of Yellowstone, scientists warn supervolcano may blow. An unusually large number of powerful earthquakes struck Yellowstone, causing scientists to fear that the supervolcano was about to erupt. According to U.S. Geological Survey, what happened a few months back, magnitudes of up to 5. Scientists warned that the supervolcano, which is long overdue for an eruption, may be about to blow, which would wipe out large numbers of human, animal, and plant life all across America. IntelliHub reported scientists currently believe there is a 10% chance that a supervolcanic Category 7 eruption, that's the volcanic explosivity index they're talking about, Category 7 eruption, could take place this century, as pointed out by theoretical physicist Michio Kaku, who appeared on a segment in Fox News. The gray-haired physicist told Shepard Smith that the danger we are now facing with the caldera is that it's long overdue for an eruption, which Kaku said could rip the guts out of the USA. Kaku said that a pocket of lava located under the park has turned out to be twice as big as scientists originally thought. Scientists concur that the last eruption of the caldera took place some 640,000 years ago, and the U.S. is currently under contract with at least 4 countries, all of which have agreed to house displaced U.S. citizens in the unfortunate event that Yellowstone volcano were to erupt. We're talking about the Yellowstone evacuees. Hundreds of billions of dollars were paid to foreign governments to facilitate the agreement, which spans a 10-year period from its signing ending 2024. An excerpt from the article, authored April 2014, titled Report Brazil, Argentina, and Australia signed contracts worth hundreds of billions of dollars to house displaced U.S. populace when Yellowstone supervolcano erupts, reads, quote, the U.S. plan for relocation was formulated after a recent scientific analysis of the park revealed that Yellowstone supervolcano has the potential to violently erupt within the next 10 years, as noted by others, including the famous astrophysicist Michio Kaku. In fact, Prague, P-R-A-A-G, a Pakistani publication, recently reported it may take up to 10 years for pressure in the magma chamber of the supervolcano to build, according to Dr. Jean-Philippe Perilat of the National Center for Scientific Research in Grenoble, France. Quote, it is the difference in density between the molten magma in the caldera and the surrounding big rock big enough for the magma from the chamber to the surface to increase. The effect is the same as the extra buoyancy of a soccer ball underwater filled with air, after which it rises to the surface because the surrounding water poet. If the magma volume is large enough, it should go to the surface to rise and explode like a champagne bottle that uncork be, end quote. According to Dr. Sifo Matho, the South African government, quote, sympathy for the American challenge to Yellowstone, but we have our own challenges in South Africa. There are 200 million white people in America, and if too many of them to South Africa flights, it is a big problem. Even though there is enough housing and infrastructure available, it will destabilize the country and may even bring back apartheid. South Africa is not for sale, end quote. However, according to the report, Brazil, Argentina, and Australia jumped on the bandwagon, accepting the request from Washington. The calm before the storm started a few weeks back when researchers noticed a downtick in seismic activity before the earthquake swarm struck. Earthquake expert Dutch Sense chimed on Yellowstone in a video posted YouTube one day before the swarm occurred to warn of future activity in the region. So he was right on that. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.